Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to another episode of Universe Mode on the JPG channel, and it is officially the last and final episode of WWE 2K24 Universe Mode. Of course, WrestleMania will be our very first 2K25 episode. And we are very excited for the transition. We're very excited to finally cross over. I know we're about a month too late. The game's been out for about a month, but we had some stories to wrap up heading into WrestleMania. And now we are full throttle into WWE 2K25 after this video gets released. But ladies and gentlemen, we're not just going to go straight into 2K25 without leaving 2K24 with a major bang. The last episode before WrestleMania, the last SmackDown before WrestleMania, and it is as star-studded as it gets, folks. Finn Balor's in the building, a man that gets the honor to take on the phenomenal AJ Styles at WrestleMania in a WrestleMania dream match, if you ask me, anywhere in the world. Two former members of a very popular, well-known faction that took over the wrestling scene at different points throughout its tenure. Of course, I'm talking about the Bullet Club, and both when Finn Balor and AJ Styles were leading that group, they were on top of the world, not just the Japanese scene, but all of professional wrestling as a whole. And of course, Finn Balor's opponent here tonight, none other than the Mad Dragon, the #1 contender for the World Heavyweight Championship, Ilja Dragunov, a man that looks to do the unthinkable twice and defeat the Ring General Gunther for the second time this year. Back in Berlin is when the first time Ilja Dragunov defeated Gunther here in Universe Mode. But outside of Universe Mode, in other universes, in more realistic universes, Ilja Dragunov has had Gunther's number 3 separate times throughout his career. Certainly, if Gunther really wants to put his championship reign to the test, this is the biggest test that he could really set for himself, really, against Ilja Dragunov. And it is going to be one hell of a fight when we get to Philadelphia. Dragunov Gunther one last time in Philadelphia for the World Heavyweight Championship. I cannot wait, folks. I know you guys cannot wait. Believe you me, we'll be having the WrestleMania videos out as soon as possible, as soon as schedules clear up here on the JPG management side. Ilja Dragunov and Gunther going head-to-head at WrestleMania. Finn Balor and AJ Styles, a clash of styles, no pun intended. No pun intended that time. Also a clash of just different generations of peak athletes in that ring when it comes to Finn Balor and AJ Styles. And speaking of peak athletes, Dragunov and Finn Balor meeting for the first time in Universe Mode as well. As we lock up here, does Dragunov and Balor. And surprisingly, these two never went one-on-one when Dragunov was fighting the Judgment Day's battles against the Bloodline back then in November. Of course, Dragunov would be on Balor's side at that point, but Balor has really developed a real selfish characteristics, a selfish personality since moving over to Monday nights after being traded away for, you guessed it, AJ Styles himself. As now Ilja Dragunov is on a roll early on in this one against Finn Balor. And now Balor with a huge knee strike right to the ribs of Dragunov. Balor with a huge knee strike right to the ribs of Dragunov, and now choking out the Mad Dragon is Finn Balor. Oh, and a huge drop from Balor that time. STO swiping the legs of Ilja Dragunov, and if I'm Dragunov, I cannot afford a loss in general, but a big loss to a big name like Finn Balor. Just days and I mean mere hours at this point, away from WrestleMania. As here comes Ilja Dragunov lighting up the face, the chest with chops and kicks. And now a nice arm drag from Dragunov that time. Dragunov is in full head of steam right now. Drops the knee right on the face of Finn. A lot of people have to wonder, you know, how much does Dragunov have left in the tank here coming into this match, because the last few weeks that we've seen Dragunov, he's been getting laid out at the hands of his opponent at WrestleMania, the World Heavyweight Champion Gunther. Both weeks getting put through an announce table and then two separate tables with a powerbomb from the ring general, as now Balor turns this thing around in his favor. Like I said, Balor certainly going to be the fresher of the two, has had a lot more time to recuperate than Dragunov has, and of course, Balor, the veteran he is, focuses in on that back that cannot be at 100% of Dragunov's after being put through the announce table 1 week and then put through two separate tables the next week at the hands, of course, of the ring general. And now Balor just targeting the lower midsection area as a whole of Dragunov's. You can't argue with that logic, but Dragunov is still trying to fight here. Big running clothesline. Knocks Balor off his feet. I don't think Dragunov's done there just yet. Goes off the ropes once again. Gets him for a second time. Finn Balor getting caught not once but twice by a jumping clothesline. And now all of a sudden here comes Ilja Dragunov back into this one. Rolls through into a schoolboy. Goes for the cover. Balor gets that shoulder out at 1. And now Dragunov sending Balor into the corner. Once more, here comes Dragunov with a European uppercut. And now all of a sudden, Dragunov getting a bit of a second wind earlier on in this match. This guy's only been going for maybe 5 or 6 minutes, but it has been very physical. The physicality has been an all-time high between these two. And our opening bell of the night. Of course, Ilja Dragunov would want to open this show because he's going to have to preserve most of his energy against the ring general Gunther at WrestleMania. And now Dragunov is lighting up the chest and face of Balor once more. Caught him flush with a huge Uranagi. A Uranagi connects on Ilja Dragunov. Balor getting that big kick out. Of course, Finn Balor coming off of a huge loss to John Cena this past Monday night. He would love to rectify himself here tonight against another man that's fighting for a world championship come this weekend in Ilja Dragunov. As now Balor turns it around in his favor. Big snap suplex by Finn. The Prince is in control of the Mad Dragon. Sounds like a fairy tale if you ask me, but we are talking about Finn Balor and Ilja Dragunov. Of course, if you're just joining us, this is the first match of the card. We have some bangers getting ready for you guys here tonight before we head on into Philadelphia for WrestleMania. We got Tiffany Stratton and Bianca Belair going one-on-one for the very first time in Universe mode. Two women that have pretty significant matches at WrestleMania this year as well, with Belair taking on her arch rival Jade Cargill, a woman that she's been feuding with for better part of almost a year now, if you really ask me. And of course, Tiffany Stratton, the #1 contender for Rhea Ripley's champion. Oh my goodness, Finn Balor. Balor sidestepped Ilja Dragunov, and Dragunov took a nasty spill to the outside. And here comes the veteran once again, just targeting any injury that Dragunov is actually setting himself up for. Not just a monumental women's match with Stratton and Bianca Belair. The OTC is also in the building, and he will be tagging with Jimmy Uso, taking on the team of Soul, Sikoa, and of course Jacob Fatu, the Samoan werewolf. Just days before Roman Reigns will meet Jacob Fatu in singles competition in Philadelphia. One of the biggest matches for both men's careers, simply because Roman Reigns might not walk out of that thing the same way he comes in, fighting a man like Jacob Fatu. And Fatu, this is his WrestleMania debut, and he's already against a former WrestleMania main eventer in Roman Reigns. And look at this, Dragunov, this time off the top rope, with the senton. Still not enough, though, as Balor gets that shoulder out. Now, all of a sudden, Ilja Dragunov's starting to get a little bit frustrated here. He's going to have to keep his eyes on the prize. Like I said, cannot afford a big loss just days before a World Heavyweight Championship match. And now look at this. Balor comes back in with a sling blade. Balor coming in with a sling blade. Not once, but twice. And now just stomping out the midsection once again. Like I said, this is just veteran instincts of Finn Balor. He's been watching the tapes recently. He's been watching the SmackDown episodes, I'm sure, from a nice cozy positioning in his couch or bed at home. And he's been watching Ilja Dragunov take a beatdown at the hands of the World Heavyweight Champion the last few weeks. As I look at this, Finn Balor sending Dragunov out to the floor. Look out, here comes the Prince flying over the ropes. Tope con Hilo wipes out the Mad Dragon. This is indeed awesome, folks. Finn Balor and Ilja Dragunov, a first time ever on the JPG channel, just days before WrestleMania in Philadelphia. As now Balor drops the knee strike right to the elbow strike right to the back. And now he's working over that arm of Ilja Dragunov, it looks like. And now Wayman drops the legs. Oh my goodness, what a double foot stomp right to the chest. And Finn Balor now going for the cover. Dragunov gets the shoulder out. Oh, wait a minute, out of nowhere, Dragunov just caught Balor out of nowhere with a Torpedo Moscow. A Torpedo Moscow hit Balor flush, and that is how quickly Dragunov can turn things around and potentially get himself a win. We are not worthy of such an amazing match going down just days before WrestleMania. You would think we were already at WrestleMania with a match like this. Balor and Dragunov going back and forth here. And oh no, Dragunov might be getting sent straight into the turnbuckle, courtesy of Finn Balor. Goes for the cover, count of one, count of two, Dragunov gets that shoulder out. Balor's busted open here. Believe me, I think he's one of those type of guys that likes the taste of his own blood. Look out, oh my God! A springboard coup de grace just pulverized the chest of the Dragon. I mean, he shot out like a cannon. He had to be somewhere between 15 feet in the air, did Finn Balor. And now Balor, look at the strength of Finn. Oh, just driving Dragunov down to the floor once again, and now driving the hand into the mat. Balor just doing anything he pleases at this point against the wounded challenger for the World Heavyweight Championship, Ilja Dragunov. But once again, just when you want to count Ilja Dragunov out, as he proved in the Royal Rumble, as he proved in the Elimination Chamber, you can't do that. Another H-bomb. A Torpedo Moscow connects to Finn to put Balor away. Ilja Dragunov is more than ready for the World Heavyweight Champion Gunther. What a fight we just witnessed. Finn Balor needs to kind of pick up the pace a little bit heading into WrestleMania. He's suffered two heartbreaking losses on back-to-back shows. Meanwhile, Ilja Dragunov still reigns supreme. And will he reign supreme in Philadelphia? That is the question. Ilja Dragunov, the ring general Gunther, it all goes down in just 48 hours, folks. Hard-fought victory. Ilja Dragunov trying to just, bask in the glory a little bit. But, of course, Finn Balor, ever the sore loser, back-to-back losses did not sit right with the Prince himself, Finn Balor. And, of course, he has to get the spotlight shined on him. Even in defeat, Finn Balor taking Ilja Dragunov out. But wait a minute, there goes Finn Balor's opponent at WrestleMania. AJ Styles is here on SmackDown, and he's coming to get a piece of Balor before Philadelphia. Styles making the save for a wounded Mad Dragon and Ilja Dragunov, and now taking the fight to Finn Balor just days before their interpromotional clash. Styles and Balor, we're getting a little bit of preview right here tonight to start Friday Night SmackDown. Here we go, folks. And Balor trying to make the run, but AJ Styles, of course, is right back on the attack of the Prince. And here we go, throwing some heavy haymakers, but Balor trying to get a strike in on his own. The phenomenal one, Finn Balor, going back to back, going back and forth here tonight. It's a slugfest before we get to Philly in general, as Styles and Balor just teeing off on one another. Look at these kicks and strikes by the phenomenal one, lighting up the chest and face of Balor, wiping them out. And now Balor and Styles just teeing off on one another. Something has to give, folks. Finn Balor, AJ Styles going to one-on-one at WrestleMania, but they're looking to fight each other right here and right now to start our show. Look out. It's a brawl to start SmackDown. And Dragunov only just now getting back up to his feet. Ilja Dragunov trying to fend off. Wait a minute, Gunther out of nowhere, my God! A tremendous T-Rex side drop kick from the ring general, just wiping Ilja Dragunov out and sending him into the barricade. A huge chop from Gunther, and now the assault is on for the World Heavyweight Champion. The heavyweight champion of the world, like I said, absolutely obsessed with taking it to Ilja Dragunov. Dragunov is wiped out, and I don't think the ring general is done there. Somebody has to stop this. That security that just pulled Styles and Balor away from the fight needs to get a hold of the ring general, because what the hell is Gunther doing? He's right outside by our announce table. What the hell is Gunther? Oh my God! I don't think Gunther's even done there just yet. Like, Dragunov is absolutely unresponsive. No, not another power bomb. My God. Another power bomb from the ring general. How much more damage can Ilja Dragunov take heading into WrestleMania? And now what the hell does Gunther have planned here? Gonna smash Dragunov's face on the announce table for what? And what the hell? Ilja Dragunov with a torpedo Moscow. How the hell is Dragunov standing? How the hell is Ilja Dragunov still standing after all the punishment that not only Finn Balor put him through, but of course now the ring general for weeks now, powerbombing through the announce table, powerbombing through tables, a powerbomb through steel chairs, and still Ilja Dragunov consists to be unbesiegbar. Ilja Dragunov just drove the ring general, the world heavyweight champion Gunther, through the announce table. And now, wait a minute, Dragunov, he's not done there just yet. He promises he will break Gunther in Philly, a huge torpedo Moscow. Ilja Dragunov, if he hits that at WrestleMania, you are looking at a brand new two-time world heavyweight champion. Well, tensions are certainly boiling over just days before WrestleMania between, of course, Ilja Dragunov and the world heavyweight champion Gunther, and, of course, AJ Styles and Finn Balor. An issue that Finn Balor originally started after he attacked AJ Styles a few weeks ago after the show went off the air, making a surprise return to SmackDown, really, in what is now being billed as an interpromotional match. Finn Balor and AJ Styles will go one-on-one at WrestleMania, as we announced at the start of the show. Excuse me. And that is going to be one hell of a match we will witness between the phenomenal one and the Prince himself. And speaking of one hell of a match, we are in for one as Nathan Frazer takes on Montez Ford. Frazer, of course, representing Fraxium. Montez Ford representing, well, you see it on Angelo Dawkins' shirts, the Street Profits, former tag team champions. Just two of the teams that will be involved in triple threat tag team tornado tag team action at WrestleMania. Of course, these two teams will be joined by the tag team champions themselves, the Bloodline, the Tongans, whatever you want to call them, Tama Tonga and Tongaloa. And these three teams have been at each other's neck for a number of weeks now. And a huge brawl broke out last week after Frazier's match with Bronson Reed between all six individuals, and believe me, combustible is one way to put the situation between the tag team divisions on SmackDown. I mean, of course, the Street Profits have had their problems with the Tongans, and now their problem is with Fraxium, because Fraxium are trying to, well, pretty much steal this opportunity away from the Profits. Remember, triple threat rules imply that you don't even have to be the champion, nor do you have to be pinned to lose that match. And that's what the Street Profits are going to have to look out for come Philadelphia. Meanwhile, the Bloodline making their first WrestleMania, and they're coming in as the tag team champions, so they have a lot to prove when it's all said and done in that triple threat tornado tag. You can see the crowd is favoring Montez Ford, it seems. Of course, Frazer and Axiom are more newer guys to the roster, but certainly earning their badges are they on the blue brand as of late. And they could be walking out as the brand new WWE Tag Team Champions when we get to WrestleMania. As Montez Ford, big back suplex, and a kick right to the back of Nathan Frazer. Now stomp right to the arm of Frazer from King Tez himself. Like I said, it has been a very long time since we've seen the Street Profits with the Tag Team Championship gold. You have to cast your mind back to almost this time last year, as a matter of fact. As now look out, Nathan Frazer over the top rope with a huge springboard moonsault, and that is going to definitely turn things on its head. That's how quickly Frazer can do exactly that. And now wait a minute, look out, big drop kick connects. I was going to say the Profits were actually heading into last year's WrestleMania as the tag team champions. They did not defend the championships. Instead, they were actually going into war against the OG Bloodline, that being the team of Roman, Jimmy Uso, and Solo Sikoa. And oh, have the times changed, because Jimmy Uso and Solo Sikoa and Roman Reigns are a part of tonight's main event in tag team action. And folks, a little bit of breaking news at the hands of Jimmy Uso and Solo Sikoa, regarding them at least, because Solo Sikoa interfered in Jimmy Uso's match against Carmelo Hayes last week for the United States Championship. General Manager Nick Aldis has brought something absolutely incredible news for WrestleMania. That will now be a triple threat match. Carmelo Hayes will have to deal with both Solo Sikoa and Jimmy Uso in Philadelphia. United States Championship on the line. And if that doesn't raise the stakes between Jimmy Uso and Solo Sikoa's sibling rivalry, I don't know what will. As Nathan Frazer just raised the stakes right there, going over the top rope and wiping out Montez Ford. And now big bulldog from Frazer. Frazer really needs this win to help build some momentum for his team heading into the biggest show of the year. Count of 5 is now Nathan Frazer realizing he doesn't want to take a cheap victory like that. But wait a minute, that might have opened the door a little bit for Montez Ford. Maybe Ford was playing a little bit of possum here as a huge big splash connects on Frazer. Big strike right to the midsection now of Nathan Frazer as well. Count of 3 is now Montez Ford. Absolutely. Just always the ever so entertaining and egotistical one would be Montez Ford, although in kind of egotistical in a good way. I mean, believe me, the Street Profits know their worth, and they know exactly how good they are in that ring, and that's what's scary about it. But so does Fraxium. You know, they're very young. They're right out of NXT just last year. They came over from NXT, and they've already been so impressive this year, impressive enough to get themselves inserted in a tag team match at WrestleMania for the tag team championships in their first year in the on the main roster, I should say. As now look at this. Oh, Nathan Frazer wiping Montez Ford out. Oh, what an elbow strike right to the back of the neck of Ford. Nathan Frazer a mile a minute right now, and this is the pace that he needs to keep it at, because Montez Ford, quite honestly, can match that pace of Nathan Frazer. A man that says he never slows down, while Montez Ford never has an off switch. As now Nathan Frazer going top rope, but he's calling Montez Ford up to his feet. I don't know what Frazer has planned here, but Ford might want to look out. Went for a standing swanton almost, but Montez Ford got out of harm's way that time. And now all of a sudden, Frazer and Montez Ford at a standstill before it gets the better of him with a float over DDT. And now taking out Nathan Frazer in the corner, but no, oh! What move from Frazer there. Nice reversal from Nathan. Frazer goes for a shotgun drop kick. That's averted by Montez. Big strike right to the face of Frazer. Montez Ford all over his opponent here tonight. Wants to deal some damage to one half of Fraxium before the big title fight. Big tag team championship match at WrestleMania. And now just throwing some haymakers and heavy chops. And now wait a minute. Here comes Nathan Frazer right back into this one with a sliding single leg kick to the face almost. I don't know exactly what to call that, but that's what we're going to go with. And now Nathan Frazer chopping away at the chest of Montez Ford. A big strike right to the face. And wait a minute, here comes Nathan Frazer turning it up a little bit with a huge springboard Hurricane Rana. And now, wait a minute, big elbow drop right to the heart. This is awesome chants in the crowd. Of course, when you have two supremely athletic individuals like these two, it's going to be hard not to find that chant echoing throughout the arena as Ford gets a shoulder out once again. Now, big chop again, but you can see just how exhausted Nathan Frazer is from this fight. And Montez Ford could really take advantage of that if he wanted to. As now, wait a minute, Ford goes off the ropes with a springboard DDT. As Montez Ford now is in control once again. He sends Frazer to the floor this time. And Montez Ford, well, he tells Frazer exactly what he thinks of him. And now look out. Over the top rope goes Montez this time. Not to be outdone by the man that usually, of course, always is the highlight of the night in Nathan Frazer. Montez Ford wanted to make sure that he gets a few highlights himself. As now Ford sending Frazer into the corner. Big elbow strike. Not done yet. Rolling Thunder into a huge blockbuster. Tremendously executed by Tez. Goes for the cover. Frazer gets the shoulder out. Somehow, Frazer is staying in the fight, and I believe that has to absolutely just grind the gears of Montez Ford. And now Montez Ford is trying to get back into this one a little bit. Big knee strike right to the face. It's not every day we get to be blessed with a singles performance by Montez Ford, but every time that he's been in a singles performance, he has looked to basically be the breakout performance of the night, if you ask me. As now Montez Ford literally just got himself from that positioning on the top rope. Now he puts Nathan Frazer in that position. Look out! Big superplex connects. This is certainly awesome, folks. As Montez Ford, I don't think he's done there just yet. He's going top rope. Big frog splash. And that is going to do it here tonight. Montez Ford picking up a big win over Nathan Frazer. What a victory for Montez Ford heading into that triple threat tornado tag team match. You have to believe the Street Profits might arguably be the favorites heading into it, with being a former tag team champions and now holding a victory over Nathan Frazer. Tez and Dawkins, like I said, picking up some much needed momentum heading into a match that is unpredictable as it comes for those tag team championships. Folks, we are gearing up for one hell of a singles match between Bianca Belair in the center of the universe, Tiffany Stratton. I mean, if you ask me, this is another match that is WrestleMania worthy in itself. Belair and Stratton going one-on-one for the very first time ever in each other's careers. This is going to be a treat, folks. A little bit of WrestleMania warm-up, if you will, with these next two matches. Of course, closing our show after this one, after this match, the OG Bloodline effectively against the new Bloodline, Roman Reigns and Jimmy Uso taking on the Samoan Werewolf Jacob Fatu and Sol Sikoa, both men's opponents at WrestleMania. That being Roman Reigns against Jacob Fatu, and Jimmy Uso having to deal with Sol Sikoa before he can get to Carmelo Hayes for the United States Championship and be more like his brother Jey Uso, who's walking into WrestleMania as a singles champion, the Intercontinental Champion to be exact, but has a very, 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 very small chance of walking out still the champion because he has to deal with 7 other men in a ladder match at WrestleMania. Certainly uncharted waters for the master of the Yeet himself, Jey Uso. And here we go, folks. Tiffany Stratton and Bianca Belair getting ready to head one-on-one for the first time in Universe mode, as Stratton, of course, will be looking to prove herself against Bianca Belair because, I mean, this is as big of a test as Stratton can give herself before the biggest test at WrestleMania against the Eradicator, Rhea Ripley, a woman that Bianca Belair has come to know very well in the last month because Ripley took everything away from Bianca Belair in terms of having a championship match at WrestleMania. But really, Rhea Ripley was just seizing the opportunity. It wasn't really her, you know, it wasn't anything that she did to cause what happened to Bianca at the Elimination Chamber. It was Jade Cargill. Cargill attacked Bianca Belair later out, put her through this very announce table, and then Rhea Ripley was just doing what any woman would do in that situation, cashing that Money in the Bank briefcase on a wounded Bianca Belair, which normally you can't even beat Bianca Belair at 50%, let alone 100%, so she was probably a good 20% that night, and Rhea Ripley hitting the Riptide and effectively putting the EST's reign to sleep, to bed, and making sure that Bianca Belair would, every time she looks at Rhea Ripley, all she would see is a literal nightmare. But something tells me Bianca Belair, once she maybe can finally be done of this Jade Cargill situation, if she can defeat Cargill at WrestleMania in a Falls Count Anywhere match, which is going to be an absolutely brutal one to watch, folks, in Philadelphia. Something tells me Bianca Belair is not done just yet with Rhea Ripley. Goes for the count. Does our referee Chad Patton. Bianca Belair cannot let frustrations get the better of her in this match. You saw her wailing away at the back of Tiffany Stratton. Stratton is not a competitor to take lightly. Just ask every single woman in an Elimination Chamber match back in Australia. The match that Stratton won to rightfully fight for the Women's World Heavyweight Championship at WrestleMania. But now here comes Bianca Belair getting right back into things against the princess herself. And now big drop to the knee from the EST. Another backbreaker from Belair. And now Stratton wisely rolling outside the ring. Gonna let Bianca Belair think long and hard about what she could do next to the challenger. And now look out, Bianca Belair though going over the top rope, wipes Stratton out. A tope con hilo. I guess she saw the old hubby's move earlier on tonight, that being Montez Ford, and she wanted to one-up Montez before WrestleMania apparently. Those two always in friendly competition, of course, married as well outside of the WWE. And both of those two have big nights in Philadelphia. Stratton is looking a little bit outshined right now by the EST, but it's really kind of hard not to be when you're in the ring with just the peak of women's performance, the peak of athletic ability, God-given talent when it comes to Bianca Belair. You talk about a woman that was born to do exactly what she's doing, and that is professional wrestling. Look no further than Bianca Belair. And now big, look at that, just a little bit of showboating at that as well. And a big power slam after she does a few squats just for the heck of it. And now, wait a minute. Belair showcasing the strength once again to lift Tiffany Stratton above her head. And now Belair wiping Stratton out. EST chants in the crowd, and how the hell can there not be after some impressive feats of strength that we are seeing out of the EST here tonight. No doubt about it, she is looking to send a message to Jade Cargill heading into WrestleMania. And now, wait a minute, Tiffany Stratton now finally coming back into this thing after being a little bit overwhelmed by the former women's champion. Now Tiffany Stratton drives the head right into the mat. Drives the head right into the mat. And now Stratton, this time, driving Bianca Belair's face into the turnbuckle. This might be the opportunity that Stratton needs, but she needs to capitalize. She needs to stay on the attack when it comes to the EST. And now driving Bianca Belair once again face first into the mat, and Belair might be in the drop zone for the Princess. Big Swanton connects. A big Swanton connects to the EST. Oh, but Belair somehow, somehow able to get back up on her feet, but Tiffany Stratton right back on the attack, just wrenching at the arm of the EST. Tiffany Stratton now all over Belair. Big stomp right to the arm. More damage to the arm of Bianca Belair, trying to take that strength away from Belair. A very smart strategy by a very young woman in Tiffany Stratton. I mean, she's just 24 years of age, and she's already doing big things, like in one of the co-main events of WrestleMania against the Eradicator, Rhea Ripley. That's just a testament to who the competitor Stratton already is and who she can be further down the line. But oh, she gets hit by a huge spear. Again, getting overwhelmed by Bianca Belair is Tiffany Stratton, and still the feats of strength on full display by the EST. A deadlift power slam, beautifully executed once again, but Stratton gets the shoulder once again. Just as impressive as Bianca Belair has been with these power moves, I've been just as impressed with these big kickouts. I've been impressed with the resiliency of the woman that's fighting for the World Championship in just a few short, really hours now. Tiffany Stratton, which reminds me, she might not want to, go the distance with the EST. We know that Bianca Belair is a cardio freak, and I don't think Tiffany Stratton wants to find herself in a 30-40 minute clash with the EST just days before WrestleMania. Oh, and now look at this. That's a way to get an opening for yourself. Tiffany Stratton sending Bianca Belair face first down on the mat. And I don't think Stratton's done there just yet. Oh, there's that rolling fireman's carry. That's usually a precursor to the PME, the prettiest moonsault ever, but obviously Stratton is on the outside of the ring this time rather than the inside. A count of 7 is now Tiffany Stratton. There's no way in hell she's going to take this count-out victory. A count of 8. Belair needs to get back up on her feet. Referee Chad Patton almost at a count of 10. Count of 9. And now the EST and Tiffany Stratton going back and forth with one another, but wait a minute. Did I just catch a glimpse of... Yeah, that's Jade Cargill. I thought I saw Cargill sitting on ringside. When the hell did she arrive? Cargill just laid out Bianca Belair. This match is officially thrown out. Belair's going to win by disqualification. But that is certainly not how Tiffany Stratton wanted to end her night heading into WrestleMania. And now, wait a minute. The beatdown once again. For months it's been like this. Cargill laying out Bianca Belair. And now Cargill just getting herself one last taste of the EST before Philadelphia. These two women are meeting in a Falls Count Anywhere match at WrestleMania. It does not get any bigger than that. And Jade Cargill just with a big boot right to the heart of the EST. Man, what a competitive match we were seeing between Belair and Tiffany Stratton. Of course, Jade Cargill. Anytime that Bianca Belair trying to be great, Cargill is right then and there to make sure that she puts a stop to all that mess. And Belair's been in an absolutely physical battle, like I said, a competitive war with Tiffany Stratton, and she is just ripe for the picking for Jade Cargill, if you ask me. And now, wait a minute, Cargill, what the hell is she planning? Look out! Jade Cargill just threw caution to the wind and wiped out Bianca Belair. Belair is completely just out of the loop right now as to what's going on. Somebody might want to tell her she's getting her ass handed to her by Jade Cargill, a woman that has been a thorn in her side, as I said, for better part of a year now. Cargill is lighting up the EST, the former Women's World Champion. And the reason why Belair is not the champion heading into WrestleMania would be Jade Cargill herself. As now Cargill just sending Bianca Belair nearly into the barricade. This is a mugging of the EST at the hands of Jade Cargill. Belair found herself right in the eye of the storm, no pun intended. And it is hitting her like a brick house. Now Cargill, look how full of herself she is. Look how confident she is heading into WrestleMania against one of the best. Last year she was against Charlotte Flair. This year she's against Bianca Belair. And now she's looking to take Belair out with the Jaded. It hits on the EST, a move that Bianca Belair is all but too familiar with, and now Cargill laying her out with an uppercut. Jade Cargill sending a message to the EST ahead of the Falls Count Anywhere match. Stratton understandably frustrated with that loss. Wait a minute, I was going to say an incredibly competitive match with Bianca Belair, but speaking of competitors, that is the competitor that Tiffany Stratton has to go through at WrestleMania. The Eradicator, Rhea Ripley, laying Tiffany Stratton out once again. Well, folks, we were in for one hell of a match between Tiffany Stratton and Bianca Belair, but of course, anything that Bianca Belair is doing, Jade Cargill is going to be involved, at least until WrestleMania. That's exactly what happened. Jade Cargill assaulting Bianca Belair in the midst of an incredible match against Tiffany Stratton, and well, that's what you get right then and right there. Bianca Belair getting the disqualification victory over Stratton, which leaves a sour taste in my mouth, leaves a sour taste in the mouths of everybody in attendance, and certainly leaves a sour taste in the mouth of Bianca Belair as well, because tremendously competitive match like that, you know Bianca Belair would have loved to win clean as a whistle. And like I said, I hope to see that match down the line with a definitive finish for sure the next time around between Belair and Stratton. But nonetheless, we are moving on to our main event. The OTC, Roman Reigns and Jimmy Uso of the OG Bloodline taking on this new bloodthirsty, absolutely devastating version of the Bloodline in Solo Sikoa and Jacob Fatu, the Samoan werewolf himself, who will be taking on the OTC at WrestleMania, one of the biggest fights of Roman's life, because he's walking in to basically a dogfight, if you ask me, with a man like Jacob Fatu. Absolutely unpredictable, just completely diabolical. I mean, this is not a man that I would want to even get into a wrestling match with, let alone a fight. And of course, Solo Sikoa will have his hands full against Jimmy Uso and Carmelo Hayes for that United States Championship, a match that was announced earlier on tonight due to Solo Sikoa getting involved in Jimmy's match, his U.S. Championship opportunity against Carmelo last week. You have to wonder what Melo's thinking now that the odds are pretty much stacked against him heading into that one. taking on not one but two Samoans now in Sikoa and Jimmy Uso. Here we go, folks. We're getting ready for a little bit of bloodline warfare before WrestleMania begins. A little precursor, a little preview, if you will, of WrestleMania with this tag team match. This very star-studded tag team match consisting of the OG Bloodline against the new Bloodline. Jimmy Uso looks to start this thing off with Fatu. Oh, and Fatu immediately gets aggressive, driving that head right into the skull. Big headbutt right to the face of Jimmy Uso. And Fatu is just a madman out there. Look out, Jimmy. Already going for the cover. Uso still has some fight in the game here, but you get hit like that by Jacob Fatu, you might not have much fight left. And now what the hell is Fatu doing? I'm so glad he missed that, because I don't know what the hell I would have thought if he didn't. And now Fatu just muscling up Jimmy Uso with a pop-up powerbomb. A deadlift powerbomb at that. And now Jimmy Uso, look out, Jimmy's trying to get something going here, but Fatu remains in control here. Jimmy, though, again, trying to get back in the fight here. Big strike right to the back of the big Samoan. And now Fatu trying to lick his wounds on the outside. Jimmy Uso, though, over the top rope takes out Fatu. And remember, a number of weeks ago, Jacob Fatu got the better of Jimmy Uso in quite decisive fashion. So this week it's Jimmy Uso trying to get a measure of payback on the Samoan werewolf, kicking at the chest of Fatu. And now a big ground and pound strike by Jimmy. And now, wait a minute. Would be reminiscent if he doesn't take a cheap shot at his younger brother Solo, who of course he's been having problems with since arriving on Friday Night SmackDown. And now Jimmy Uso taking a page out of Fatu's playbook, ripping apart the announce table. Fatu, though, with some nasty strikes right to the face of Jimmy. And all of a sudden, Fatu gets right back in the fight here. Jimmy Uso trying to get back up on his feet as Jacob Fatu now off the ropes, leaves his feet with a springboard clothesline. Only a count of one, though, as Jimmy Uso still showing some fight left in him as Fatu stomps at the face. And now driving that head right into the mat. Driving the head right into the mat of Jimmy Uso. Jacob Fatu now sending Uso into the corner of the new Bloodline. And now what the hell is this? Sending Jimmy Uso off the ropes. Big elbow strike connects. And now is Sikoa going to be able to get a little piece of his older brother Jimmy Uso before WrestleMania. As I said, what a year. What a difference a year makes. Roman Reigns, Sikoa, and Jimmy Uso were all fighting side by side last year at WrestleMania against Bobby Lashley and the Street Profits. And now, just 1 year later, Roman Reigns and Jimmy Uso are fighting against Sikoa. Jimmy Uso and Sikoa effectively being on the same card at the same time in the same match against each other. And of course, the United States champion Carmelo Hayes. That's what blind greed will get you, and that's exactly what happened to Sikoa. And now Jimmy Uso coming back into this one. Big, super kick right to the midsection and a huge uppercut. And now here comes Jimmy. Big headbutt connects. A big headbutt by Jimmy Uso. Calling Solo up to his feet. What has Jimmy got planned here? Off the ropes. Big bulldog. And a big strike to Fatu. But wait a minute, that gives Sikoa his opportunity. And he goes right for it, just choking out Jimmy Uso. These are two very dangerous individuals when we're talking about Jacob Fatu and Sikoa. Not two men you want to see stranded in an alley, that's for sure. As now Sikoa sends Jimmy Uso off the ropes with a big elbow strike. Again, going for the cover, count of one, already getting a 2 count. The damage has been done to Jimmy. And now Sikoa sending Jimmy Uso back into the corner of the new bloodline. Look at these strikes right to the midsection. Not done there just yet. Pump handle kick into a huge running senton in the corner. Running splash in the corner. Jimmy Uso desperately needs a tag to our tribal chief himself, Roman Reigns. A man that is just biding his time, just licking his chops, salivating at the mere thought of getting back into the ring with Jacob Fatu. After what Fatu did to him last week, he did that exact maneuver, a Samoan splash through the announce table to Roman Reigns. And now look at this, we're going to get a little bit of a preview, but Fatu gets the better of the tribal chief. But no, Roman comes back now, and a big jumping clothesline by Roman. Chad Patton now might want to just throw the rule book out the window when it comes to these 4 individuals, as Jimmy Uso throws the ones in the sky. Oh, what a super kick, and another one connects. Could that be enough to put the Samoan werewolf away? Barely even a 1 count. You have got to be kidding me. And now Fatu now, sending Jimmy Uso off the ropes. Big running power slam. Jimmy Uso now, though, trying to get that tag to Roman still. And now, oh, a big headbutt averted. And now Jimmy Uso gets that tag to Roman. And now all of a sudden Roman connects with a big boot right to the face. A big boot right to the face of Fatu. This is what Roman's been waiting for since last week. Since the week before that. Every week that Jacob Fatu has gotten the better of the tribal chief. Sends Jacob Fatu off the ropes. And now takes Sikoa off the apron. Look out for Roman. Big headbutt connects. If there's any man that could put a stop to the tyranny that Jacob Fatu has been on this past year, it is Roman Reigns at WrestleMania. Schoolboy powerbomb. Jacob Fatu gets the shoulder out. And now Roman Reigns, though, getting thrown off a little bit. A huge dragon screw torquing up that knee of Roman. And now Fatu. Look out! Big standing Uranagi. And now a headbutt takes Roman out. Jimmy Uso trying to save his cousin here as Jacob Fatu goes for the attack. And this match is starting to spill out, folks, as now Roman picking right back up where he left off against Sikoa last week. And now Roman driving Sikoa onto the announce table. Jacob Fatu trying to take out Jimmy, but Jimmy had something for Fatu. And now wait a minute, Jacob Fatu, oh my goodness gracious. Just wiped Roman Reigns out with a suicide dive. A suicide dive to Reigns, and no, wait a minute, for a second week in a row. A second week in a row, Fatu is going to be going. Oh, Roman, though, able to get out of harm's way that time, but he gets absolutely trucked by Fatu. Fatu now. Again, setting Roman Reigns on that announce table, but Roman fights back. And now, wait a minute, a guillotine. A guillotine locked in on Fatu. A guillotine locked in on Fatu. Count of 9 as Fatu looks to break the count. And oh no, wait a minute, I don't think either man broke the count.
Well, this match is unfortunately going to end in a draw, a count out, but Jacob Fatu and Sikoa still taking the fight to Roman Reigns as the fight breaks on between the OG bloodline and the new bloodline. Look out, Sikoa wiping Roman Reigns out. Wiping Roman Reigns out is Sikoa. Sikoa and Roman Reigns fighting each other off. Jimmy Uso and Fatu also duking it out. This is an absolute just car crash, if you ask me. And that's a perfect way to explain most of our show here tonight. Is now Sikoa and Jimmy Uso fighting off on one corner. Oh, and Sikoa drives Jimmy Uso into the barricade. Meanwhile, Jacob Fatu turning his attention to our tribal chief Roman Reigns. And the referee has already thrown this match out, but I don't think Fatu nor Sol Sikoa give a damn. It's about sending a message before WrestleMania as Fatu wailing away at the tribal chief once more. But look out, because Jimmy Uso now trying to come back into this thing, trying to help his cousin out and wound the werewolf. Jacob Fatu getting a beatdown now, but look out. Oh my goodness, what a Hurricane Rana. What a Hurricane Rana from Fatu. Big super kick to Roman. Big super kick to Jimmy. Fatu's a madman. Fatu now calling Jimmy Uso up to his feet. Oh no, look out. A big pop-up Samoan drop. Oh, but a big boot from the tribal chief lays out Fatu. Roman Reigns now trying to take it to Fatu, but Fatu driving Roman Reigns' face right into the barricade as now he focuses in on Jimmy. Jacob Fatu now, oh no, he has dastardly intentions. Of course, what he did to Roman Reigns last week, he's looking to do to Jimmy Uso this week. Look out, the Samoan werewolf with a moonsault through the announce table. Fatu absolutely wiping Jimmy Uso out. Jimmy Uso left in a heap, of course, courtesy of the Samoan werewolf, but look out! Superman punch cocked back, locked, loaded, and heavy. The most heaviest Superman punch you'll probably ever see. Roman Reigns now throwing Jacob Fatu into the turnbuckle, and now for the first time in this entire rivalry, Roman Reigns looks to have Jacob Fatu. And now Roman Reigns just laid out Fatu with a spear that had to feel good to get a measure of revenge on the Samoan werewolf after weeks and weeks. But Roman's not done. Roman's not done. Roman's gearing up for another spear on Fatu. Look out, a second spear wipes Fatu out. Roman Reigns now goes up the one, only to signify to Jacob Fatu, to Sol Sikoa, to everybody that he is indeed the one. But the question is, will he be the one to defeat the Samoan werewolf at WrestleMania?